Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 comic books and marketing expert covering college panics as professor's lawsuit takes on DEI. I was told I need to decolonize my classroom. Let's get into the story. Before we do, please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate you guys. Coming from Fox News, Arizona State professor sues university over DEI training, says he was asked to decolonize his classroom. From the College Fix, conservative professor sues ASU over its mandatory DEI training. And it's much more than just training. They're forcing him to believe in and teach their ideology. Also from the College Fix, Arizona lawmakers learn sorry details on cancellation of ASU center that hosted conservatives. And from the College Fix, Arizona legislature forms committee to probe free speech concerns at ASU. Conservative professor sues ASU over its mandatory DEI training. An outspoken conservative professor at Arizona State University has sued his employer, alleging its mandatory diversity, equity, and inclusion training for faculty violates a 2-year-old state law that forbids public agencies from requiring employees to engage in training, quote, that presents any form of blame or judgment on the basis of race, ethnicity, or sex. Owen Anderson, that's this guy, a professor of philosophy, religious studies, and theology at ASU, is the primary plaintiff in the lawsuit filed with the help of the conservative nonprofit Goldwater Institute based in Arizona. The complaint alleges ASU's mandatory DEI training requires employees to agree that white heterosexuals are inherently racist and oppressive, among other subjective topics regarding white privilege and social justice. The lawsuit argues the training and its test at the end not only runs afoul of the relatively new state law, but the state's constitution's protections on free speech as well. Quote, Anderson contends that requiring that he take the inclusive communities exam and attest agreement to its principles by taking an exam that predetermined the correct answers violates his rights under the Arizona Constitution, the lawsuit read. That's compelled speech, and it's something that you can't do in the United States of America and get away with it. That's why there's a lawsuit. In a statement to Arizona Central, a campus spokesperson defended the training. Quote, Arizona State University is committed to the success of each one of its students who come from all 50 states, 150 different countries, and all socioeconomic backgrounds, the spokesperson told the outlet. To help meet that goal, consistent with state law, ASU provides its employees inclusive communities training, which promotes an environment of respect for all backgrounds, beliefs, and life experiences, except for the ones that they demonize, and that's why there's a lawsuit. Anderson, who has taught at ASU for 21 years, has been an outspoken critic of DEI trainings and similar topics. Quote, in my own experience, I have found that this kind of DEI training is used to discriminate against Christians. Christians are the center of the intersectionality circle, Anderson stated on his personal Substack. All other types of oppression are traced to Christians in this view, and therefore they can be treated poorly. After all, so this thinking goes, it is their turn and they deserve it. That is the level of evil that people have in their hearts when they take action on this discriminatory training. It's inexcusable. The Goldwater Institute's 14-page lawsuit is accompanied by 173 pages of exhibits, that being the training and quizzes ASU employees must take, all obtained through a Public Records Act request. Quote, the slides included statements or concepts including but not limited to acknowledging the history of white supremacy and social conditions for it to exist as a structural phenomenon. How perceptions of authority and control are not granted to minoritized faculty. Racism takes the form of innocuous questions or comments, and heterosexuality is privileged and goes unquestioned, the Institute states on its website. So this training would have you force the teachers of ASU to view minorities with authority and control based on their skin color. That is what they're saying their goal is of the training. That shouldn't be a goal for any skin color or any kind of training. Quote, the video transcript included the following statements or concepts. It scares people to be called a white supremacist. We have to open the space to critique whiteness. And white supremacy was written into the foundational documents of our nation. The inclusive communities training thus promulgated and funded concepts of blame or judgment on the basis of race, ethnicity, or sex in violation of Arizona law. In September 2023, the Institute sent a letter to the Arizona Board of Regents demanding the university immediately stop spending public funds on the training pursuant to the new law, but the university did not end the program. ASU has already been in the hot seat recently among state lawmakers over concerns that ASU improperly shut down the T.W. Lewis Center for Personal Development after it hosted two well-known conservatives, Charlie Kirk and Dennis Prager, prompting massive protests by professors. Currently, a bill winding its way through the Arizona State Legislature seeks to prohibit the Board of Regents and the state's public universities from spending money on DEI programs, according to Arizona Central, adding it past the Senate earlier this year. And about them shutting down that center. From the College Fix, Arizona lawmakers learned sorry details on cancellation of ASU center that hosted conservatives. ASU must produce written investigation into the matter per lawmakers' request. A meeting by the Arizona legislature's newly formed ad hoc committee on freedom of expression at Arizona's public universities allowed a lot of Arizona State University's dirty laundry to be aired before both Republican and Democratic state lawmakers. Specifically, details and accusations emerged regarding the brouhaha over the Health, Wealth, and Happiness panel hosted in February by the T.W. Lewis Center for Personal Development, which is housed in Barrett, the Honors College at ASU. The event featured two well-known conservatives, Charlie Kirk and Dennis Prager, prompting massive protests by professors. The uproar prompted the center's benefactor, Tom Lewis, to pull his funding, which led to the dismissal of its executive director, Ann Atkinson, despite her securing pledges for new funding sources. Atkinson testified that Barrett's first-year dean, Tara Williams, spurned Atkinson's diversified donor funding plan based on verbal commitments she secured from several would-be benefactors. Williams killed the center as it was becoming a global brand and let the faculty mob assume control of a jewel at ASU that had run 150 well-attended events under Atkinson's leadership, according to Just the News. Atkinson also claimed lawmakers would find overwhelming evidence of faculty misconduct around the February 8th event if a real investigation were conducted, including use of university email addresses to harass her. The outlet reported, adding Atkinson also testified that ASU deans ordered the removal of marketing materials regarding the event. Owen Anderson testified, that's this guy, not as a representative of the university, but as a free speech expert and concerned citizen. He said on Twitter prior to the hearing, I've been speaking out about how my college at ASU has employee training classes teaching radical gender ideology and has tried to change our bylaws to include that our syllabi are evaluated by anti-racist and decolonizing philosophies. Quote, the ASU honors professors who, rather than use free speech for rational discussion, resorted to name-calling and were also invited to give their side, and they declined. After the hearing, Anderson tweeted it went great. Quote, evidence was given of harassment, intimidation, and the chilling effect for conservatives, Jews, and Christians at ASU. Now ASU must report back on how they will uphold their standards and take actions against those who behave this way using ASU computers and classes. But Democratic lawmakers on the committee were unconcerned by what they say were professors exercising their own free speech rights through a letter and a small protest, according to the Arizona Capital Times. In response, Republican lawmakers said that even though the event went forward, students were intimidated by professors into not attending it, and that the faculty members holding signs outside the event had to be intimidating to students. Imagine you're a student and you see your professor protesting an event that you're going to, like, okay, well, that guy's going to punish me in his class. Like, yes, he is, and so is she, the other professor, who's glaring at me as I'm just trying to go to a free speech event. Maybe I should see both sides of a story. Maybe that looks interesting. I'm going there with a friend that I respect. No, if you do that and your professor sees you doing that, who is so out of their minds that they're actually protesting the event, yes, that professor is going to retaliate against you. ASU officials have maintained that the February event took place despite the protest and was highly successful, and point out the speaker series and classes created by the center have continued at ASU since its closure. But Republican Senator Anthony Kern requested, quote, ASU produce a written investigation into the matter and a list of proposed actions within 60 days. The Senate Judiciary Committee, he said, will act based on the thoroughness of that report. Lewis, in his statement on why he pulled his funding, said, quote, after seeing this level of left-wing hostility and activism, I no longer had any confidence in Barrett to adhere to the terms of our gift and made the decision to terminate our agreement. And there are some serious free speech problems at ASU. Also from the College Fix, Arizona State Legislature forms committee to probe free speech concerns at ASU. Following a free speech controversy at Arizona State University, the state legislature is forming a new joint committee to examine freedom of expression in the state's public universities. ASU shut down the T.W. Lewis Center for Personal Development after its main donor, Tom Lewis, pulled funding after a controversial event featuring conservative personalities Charlie Kirk and Dennis Prager. The former executive director, Ann Atkinson, said in an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal titled, quote, "I paid for free speech at Arizona State," that she was fired by the university for organizing the event. A committee hearing featured testimony from Atkinson and Prager, as well as Dr. Owen Anderson and radio host Seth Leibson. Tom Lewis himself said the backlash from faculty protesting the conservative speakers was the reason he felt compelled to terminate funding to the center, which was part of Barrett, the Honors College. Quote, "Because these were mostly conservative speakers, we expected some opposition, but I was shocked and disappointed by the alarming and outright hostility demonstrated by the Barrett faculty and administration toward these speakers," Tom Lewis himself said in a statement. Instead of sponsoring this event with a spirit of cooperation and respect for free speech, Barrett faculty and staff exposed the radical ideology that now apparently dominates the college. After seeing this level of left-wing hostility and activism, I no longer had any confidence in Barrett to adhere to the terms of our gift. State Senator Anthony Kern and State Rep. Wang Nugent are co-chairing a committee, and Nugent tweeted he's very concerned about the situation. Quote, "Arizona's public universities must be unfettered bastions of free speech and expression," he said. "I'm very concerned to see admins terminated after coordinating to have conservatives speak on campus. I look forward to hearing from university leadership as to why this happened." The school currently holds a green light rating from the Foundation of Individual Rights and Expression, which measures free expression rights at universities, and the group called Atkinson's story troubling before learning that the donor pulled the funding himself. Quote, "Fire sees no First Amendment problem with such a closure, provided there are genuine funding concerns. But because schools often point to viewpoint-neutral reasons to justify the viewpoint-based censorship, we'll continue to monitor closely," the organization tweeted on June 21st. Dr. Owen Anderson is fighting back against his woke school, trying to force him into diversity statements and supporting their ideology, which he is refusing to do. He has every legal right under state law and federal law to oppose these guys, and that's what he's doing. If you don't oppose these people pushing this DEI nonsense, they're going to wind up controlling every lever of power and creating new laws to force everyone to go along with them. If you believe in decency and the U.S. Constitution, you'll never support anything like this. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Always love to see your ideas. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another story. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.